to the first episode of the investigation game. I'm Leah Wietholter.
And I'm Tim.
I'm the owner of Workman Forensics in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And today, and the whole purpose of this podcast, is to share with investigators, whether you're an attorney, accountant, private investigator, or even just someone who just loves a good murder mystery.
Who done it?
Who done it, yeah. Just about investigations. But today, I want to tell you about the coolest project I think I've ever worked on in my life. And it is where, over the last year, my team and I have worked on taking one of my actual cases and turning it into a game that then qualifies for continuing education. And even better, the 2 hours ethics requirement that we all know and love. Not really.
Hyperbole.
Yeah, just a little. Read between the lines. So, so I'm excited to talk about this.
I am too.
So,
So, where did you get the idea?
Great question. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
So this idea hit me actually about 5 years ago. And
you just now getting to it?
Yeah, I know. I was working a few cases between now and then.
That's fair.
And I had this idea about kind of putting together a murder mystery dinner type game, but instead it would be fraud cases. But that just seemed overwhelming. You know, actors and dinner and lots of things I'm not familiar with.
That's completely fair.
So then it just kind of rolling around in the back of my head a little bit. And then Christmas of 2017, we had a game night for the Workman Forensics team at my house. And I hired a guy to come and host the games that we were playing. And in talking to him, we discovered that he could probably build like the foundation of a strategy game. And he actually left for me the unlocked escape games, the card games, where it's like an escape room, but you can just play with a few people at home with this card. And as soon as he showed that to me, I thought, oh, this is how we can turn one of my cases into a game. So he designed the kind of how the gameplay works. And then one of my data analysts and I put together the outline and just made sure it was factually accurate and narrowed down the actual case to a lot where people can play it in a reasonable amount of time.
Seems like there might be a lot of information in the case.
Yes, especially this one. So we, let's see, it was right out a year ago. We beta tested with an internal auditors group here in Tulsa, and we just continued to beta test it and improve it.
Did they like it?
They loved it. Yeah, we got great feedback, and we tested it on all types of different demographics and groups, all different ages. And so this last week, you and I actually went to ORU and had a group of students, faculty, and professionals play. And it was just a lot of fun. And there was so much just like great energy in the room. And it was so cool for me to see like this idea come to life. Especially with 60 to 70 people. I mean, it was amazing.
It's always a really good feeling whenever the spark of an idea becomes a reality.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't happen often enough.
No, but I mean, I might get hooked on it. So this case is based on, we call it the case of the man cave. And I mean, I don't really want to give away too much, but basically it's about a guy that stole a bunch of money from his employer, and he really liked being the man's man and having fun things for his friends to come over and do and hang out.
He liked his toys.
He liked his toys. And if you're going to have that many toys, then you probably should have a metal building to put your toys in too. So that's when he created his man cave, and thus the
case of the man cave was born.
The title stuck. Yeah.
I feel like in an industry like this, there's not a lot of innovation in most of it. I mean, it's numbers, it's facts and data. That doesn't change very often.
Right.
And so it's really cool to see someone, trying to shift that paradigm.
Yeah, I'm excited. I like the mashing of two worlds that I love. Just strategy games, tabletop games, getting meshed with what I do every day, day in, day out. And then it's also just, I think one of the coolest feedback, like survey responses that we received in beta testing was it was great to sit through a presentation and then have to go apply that information to something that you actually could fail. Because we do hand out points and, award-winning teams. And so there's this winning and losing and success or failure feeling. And so I think, I mean, I'm biased, but I think that it really drills home the point of just how to use the investigative process.
Yeah, and I've played the game once, and I think that's definitely, it feels that way. I play a lot of games, and I definitely get that from it.
That's good. Yeah, actually. So the reason Tim is here is that Tim serves as he works as our client services representative, but also he has an extensive background in tabletop and strategy games. And so do you want to tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. My brother and I actually operate an online business, teamcovenant.com is what it is, where we sell and write articles and do podcasts for tabletop games. We've been open for 12 years now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we've been doing that for a long time. I've played a lot of games.
Since you were 7.
Since I was 7. That's when I started playing the Pokemon TCG with my brother Zach.
Yep.
Too many hours.
Hey, but it makes you great at what you do and helping us, for sure.
Definitely have gotten better at it over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's games have always been a passion of mine. It's been a central part of who I am as a person. Friend groups were formed around them. Relationships.
That's how we met.
It is how we met.
Playing Star Wars Destiny at Covenant.
Yeah. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah, awesome. So, with your experience of seeing lots of different games, that's probably even an understatement, but after seeing lots of games, how did you feel that the investigation game held up as far as different gameplay and mechanisms?
So, it actually surprised me.
Yes.
I actually told Zach about it.
Yes.
And it has a lot of mechanics I've seen in other games, but it meshes them together a little bit differently than I've seen before. But it seemed like the kind of thing where I would play it and I would feel like, oh, it's a game in the, simplest of terms. Mm-hmm. It's about learning about ethics. How fun can it be? But it really was a ton of fun, challenging. No one's gotten the correct answer yet, which is awesome to me. It makes me want to play it again.
So cool, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's really fun, really well done, and I'm excited to see more people play it.
I know, me too. Yeah, that's exciting. Because as I was describing this to people over the last year, I felt like I kind of had to create this distinction, but I didn't have the right word, so I just kept saying, I promise it's not a chore chart game. Mm-hmm. I would make games for my sisters and I to do chores while my parents were on, out of the house or whatever, and we got to get all these chores done. But this is it's like a real game.
It is 100% a real game, but it's, educational too. So I definitely see how it could be beneficial. I know my wife has to do a lot of continuing professional education and she always loathes it, but I can only imagine if you actually wanted to go to those things. Not only are they going to be more likely to complete them and learn what you're talking about, but it's just going to help the industry overall. Yeah.
And, as we've been calling different continuing education providers, like non-profit providers, they actually were talking about, one of the first people we talked to told her about the presentation and the game. And she said, oh my goodness, I've been going to all these trainings talking about how we can make CPE better. And so the people who put on CPE are being told by people who train CPE people that they need to gamify parts of their... Is gamify a word?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
so, to gamify or to have gamification within their presentations. And she said, but, it was more like you take something and you apply it to a situation. And she said, but you guys, you have actually, this is the truest sense of that word. And so she was really
the end zone.
Yeah. So I think one of the struggles whenever we go do a CPE is that you do have people in the room who are comfortable with games. Maybe they've never played a tabletop or strategy game, but they're comfortable with games and they like group games. But then you've got people who they just do not like games. And I'm thinking of one group in general, and they were not excited about playing this in the beta testing. And no one had even given them a heads up that they were going to be playing a game. And the game happens in 4 phases. And by the 3rd, 4th phase, the people who said they weren't going to play were joining in and telling everybody else at the table how to play. And So, but maybe we should talk about how the presentation in games actually set up.
Yeah.
So there's a 10-minute presentation at the beginning that goes over the investigative process and particularly focusing on the
Best
objective,
evidence, right?
objectivity as it relates to ethics as a professional. And that by using best evidence and the investigative process, it helps professionals stay kind of hopefully out of the gray and can just be more objective in their opinions and research and
has
investigation.
to be one of the hardest parts of the job, I feel like, is remaining objective.
Right, to not get sucked into the drama and to remain objective.
These numbers don't lie. Let's figure out the truth.
Right, exactly. And so this presentation's provided, and then there's also kind of just tips and tricks along the way that are, I think they're kind of blatant, but I guess they're a little hidden too, that'll give tips about how to make decisions within the game. Then there's a few minutes of game instruction, just how is this game going to work. But the game itself is made up of cards and online resources. Oh yeah, item cards, face cards, and then there's a little online component. And so then the individuals play, or the attendees play the games in groups of 4 to 5. So it's also another bonus. It's team building. And then at the end, there's about a 15-minute wrap-up where we hand out points and we give the right solution. And then we also talk about the real case. No names, of course. But then we actually talk about how that translated and if the person was prosecuted and if it was successful.
So you worked this case personally, right?
Yes, this was one of my cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it was real fun.
I feel like you've worked a lot of fun cases.
I have. I think I was counting the other day, I think it's definitely over 150 cases, if not 200 cases, in my 15-year career. So, and that might even be low. Only 10 cases a year? That's not possible.
I am truly looking forward to the future of this game and more games.
And other games. I have so many ideas. Although I suspect that you're going to have more ideas too. The more cases you hear about. And just being able to mesh those two ideas, I just think it's super exciting. Anything else?
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Then I think we're done.
Okay.
So thanks for listening, and we hope you'll join us for our next episode. And yeah, thanks, Tim, for being here.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.